All right, we're getting breaking news from top government sources exclusively here on India Today. Top government sources have claimed that recent surgical strikes were first of its kind, which were cleared by top political leadership. These surgical strikes were well planned, coordinated across 250 kilometers of the area of LOC from KL near Kupwara to Balno near Poonch. In these strikes, there were specific targets, 6 launch pads, some having more than 15 terrorists in one launch pad. Pakistan Army handlers were giving these terrorists protection. Operation Badla of 2008, Operation Jin 2013, and they were in fact in relation to beheading of our 2 soldiers, Lance Naik Hemraj and Sudhakar. They were local army operations done at unit and brigade level. So this is the latest that we are getting in. The government now making a distinction on the reports of Operation Ginger and other claims that have been made by certain publications, and of course the Congress party, which has been saying that this is not the first time this sort of an operation has taken place. The government sources making it very clear that there is a distinction between what took place on 29th September 2016 and all the other operations. What we have also been told is that this entire operation was coordinated, 6 specific targets. But on the other hand, Operation Ginger and of 2013 and the operations on the line across the line of control 2008 were India's Avenge operation. Operations at the unit level to go ahead and avenge the beheading of Indian soldiers. The politics of tit for tat, the politics of your strike against mine is what is being witnessed. We're trying to get you our reporters, those who have got this exclusive information to us. The government has, top government sources have told India Today that surgical strikes were well planned and coordinated across the 250 kilometers area of the LC from KL near Kupwara to Balnoi in Poonch. Let me now bring in Executive Editor Sanjay Bragta for more on this story. Sanjay is getting us these details from top level government sources. Sanjay, the government now making a very clear distinction between Operation Ginger and the operations that took place in 2008 and what the Indian government and the armed forces undertook on 29 September 2016.
Definitely, yes, Ankit. This is the policy of the government. I think this is the move of the government amid the voices of making these proof public. So categorically, government has clarified that they won't be made public because there are reasons to make them public, and obviously they are claiming that this is of its the kind of first surgical strikes, because it was, as you told, on the very long area in 6 camps and 2 army posts, and also it was well coordinated at same time in 4 hours, in same time it was implemented in different areas. So and it had the backing of the top political leadership, as he was comparing to other operations which were done in 2008, 2011 and 2013. The government sources are claiming that those operations were on the local level. On local level, there were no political backing from the top. So they can't be called the surgical strikes. They were the local operations, which can be termed as bad operations, but not the surgical strikes.
You know, Sanjay, this important revelation, these points that have been made by the government also come at a time when, there are voices, especially in the opposition, the Congress party, which have been claiming that these same sort of things have been happening in past and the government is taking undue credit?
Yes, definitely. There's been politics over these surgical strikes since they initially all the political parties welcomed it, but slowly they saw these posters coming up in especially in Uttar Pradesh, wherein BJP was taking credit for these surgical strikes. Obviously, opposition parties were not happy with that, and after that they have been slowly their second rung, third rung leaders have been questioning government's surgical strike and asking for proofs. But Rahul Gandhi and Arvind Kejriwal and Rahul Gandhi's Khoon ki Dalali statement, that was really a turning point, wherein BJP now is going to take credit publicly. They have clarified that this will be an issue in forthcoming elections. So definitely this is turning out to be a very big political point for coming elections.
Sanjay, I request you to stay on with me. We also have Mr. Rajiv Dogra on the broadcast with us to add, in fact, perspective to this. Mr. Dogra, it already seems that Pakistan is on the back foot. We just in the bulletin before, we in fact broke the story of how Hafiz Saeed and Syed Salahuddin have been taken under protective, custody of sort. A protection has been given to them. They have been moved to army camp of Lahore base 4 Corps. Now with the government also coming out and making this distinction about the difference in the army operation, it just seems that there is some level of uncomfort as far as the political class is concerned, and the race to claim the kind of the benefits that they would want to use from the army operations is still on.
Well, I wouldn't like to go into the internal politics of it. I don't think it will be correct on my part. But let me comment on two of the issues which you've raised. Number one, what was different this time? Number two, how has Pakistan reacted and what is it doing, for example, on Hafiz Saeed front? As far as the first part is concerned, I think people of this country demanded action. People of this country felt and they were voicing their loud opinion that enough is enough. India has to react and India has to show that it is not a spineless country. That is what was done. And as far as people of India are concerned, the DGMO statement immediately after the surgical strikes was enough. They were satisfied. And if we wanted to satisfy the Pakistani constituency that indeed surgical strikes had taken place, then their own SP, Superintendent of Police Intelligence of Mirpur, gave ample evidence that they had indeed taken place and that army was in fact, Pakistan army was in fact cohabiting and protecting the terrorists who were to be sent across. As far as the international opinion is concerned, I think the number of messages of support which we've received from the leadership and from the ambassadors of various countries should be proof enough that no more convincing is required. Now, coming to your question as to what was different this time, the different this time was that it was spread over an arc of 250 kilometers. As any strategic expert would tell you, that this was a difficult operation to achieve. To coordinate and to have it with almost perfect timing and perfect results, near perfect results, was an achievement by itself. But much more than that, the message that Indian public wanted to send across to Pakistan had been sent by strikes on six different locations. And daring simultaneously in 6 different locations to tell them that enough is enough, India will not sit back and let you strike India at will.
So, Ambassador Dogra,
I think in that sense, there should not be any argument within.
Ambassador Dogra, I would also like to understand from you, the government is saying that there is absolutely no need for them to release any video evidence or any sort of evidence. The evidence that that India actually undertook this surgical strike, this massive operation, is already been seen in Pakistan when there is a heightened vigil from across the border. At LC, their army chief is visiting sector by sector at various places, terrorist masterminds like Hafiz Saeed and Syed Salahuddin are being given protection. They have been moved to army camps. There is, it seems, a feeling Pakistan is rattled and they believe that India can strike back again.
Absolutely. Now, as far as the evidence is concerned, as I mentioned already, Indian people do not want any further evidence. DGMO's word is enough and should be enough. As far as Pakistan is concerned, it is playing mind games with us. It has always played mind games with us by demanding the maximum, and India unfortunately has been giving the maximum, be it the thousands of pages of documentation on 26/11 or be it welcoming the ISI for Pathankot investigations. And what has been the result? Zilch, zero. So let us not succumb once again to Pakistan's mind games and release video evidence, because that's exactly what they want, to know the tactics that Indian Army had employed. So we should just say that they should address their questions to their own SP's intelligence of various districts if they don't have evidence with the army, which was Pakistan Army, which was probably sleeping all this while. But that aside, the fact is that we are now at a delicate moment, where Pakistan has internal divisions, because as after Osama bin Laden's killing, this too has come as a shock to the Pakistani political class and to the Pakistani defense establishment.
Absolutely. They still are reeling under this shock. Let me just go back to Sanjay Bhatia, Executive Editor, who broke this story here on India Today. Sanjay, now, in your experience, the way the government has reacted, the government saying that they are not going to release any sort of video or any other evidence. What Ambassador Dogra is also saying, that the word of DGMO is enough for the people of India. What sort of an effect do you think it's going to have on the politics? Are we going to see the the end of the bickering, the opposition gunning for the government, or some sections in the government also from the BJP trying to milk it for political purposes?
Ankit, definitely yes, there's going to be politics over this in forthcoming elections, and this is what the top source in the government has admitted, that even if it was BJP who was in opposition, they would have done the same thing, because obviously they have to oppose the government's moves. But this is an issue wherein, this was an issue which is not only a political issue, but it's a strategic issue, it's a diplomatic issue, and we have one on both the fronts. Diplomatically, no country has even questioned that why did we cross the LOC. They have appreciated our efforts. Number two, strategically, these terrorists and these launch pads, they were 1 to 2 kilometers from LC, and they could see our movement. They could really see where they have to act, and they could act in very short duration. But now they've been pushed back. They have pushed back in 8 to 10 kilometers in Pak-occupied Kashmir. Obviously, Pakistan has learnt a lesson, and they have learnt a lesson that if any strike occurs in India, there is going to be retaliation, and that retaliation can turn out to be a turning point and escalation of the forces on both the sides.
Absolutely. Time for India to keep Pakistan guessing. I would request both Ambassador Dogra and Sanjay Bhatia to stay on with us. We are slipping into a reaction from Ambassador Dogra on how Pakistan is now playing it diplomatically, and we'll get more insight from Sanjay about the political impact of this big breaking story.